watching this new Nosferatu movie in the theater was crazy because the way it was filmed made it so realistic. At first, I thought I could feel the count creeping up on me, till I realized that wasn't the movie. It was my date trying to steal some of my damn popcorn. What the f*** is up, internet? Welcome to the channel, and welcome to this episode of The Reviewer. You may be shocked to hear this, but I'm not a legitimate film critic. Yeah, it's true. As a matter of fact, I've never taken a class, I've never read a book, or even skimmed through an article on anything film education related ever. But since I've already been sharing my opinions about stuff on the internet as a hobby, I figured why not throw some of the shows and the movies I watch into the mix. My initial thoughts were, holy fuck. Like, honestly, I was pretty blown away. I'll talk about my expectations in a hot second, but like, I guess I just didn't really know what I was getting into. Like, remakes are never good, right? Even the ones that people are like gassing up, like this remake is the shit. Half the time you watch it and you're like, dude, I'd rather just watch the original. And although I haven't really watched the original Nosferatu from like 1922, I have seen the clips of it, and after I watched this movie, I watched like a making of or something of the 1922 version, and a lot of the stuff is pretty similar. Like the stories matches up, but I was blown away. Just like I said in the little joke at the beginning here, like the way it was shot was like, it was incredible. Honestly, my expectations were kind of low. Like, I did hear like people talking about the acting was being phenomenal. Like the Depp girl was talked about a lot, and then Skarsgård's voice was talked about, and so I didn't really know what to get into. Like I said, I seen clips of the 1922 version. Then there was a show that was on Netflix called Nosferatu with some girl that had a magic motorcycle. I don't know if you ever watched that shit. But that was nowhere near this movie. So my expectations were pretty low at first, honestly.
Who wants to go to Christmas land?
I do.
That opening scene, right, where she's calling out to him, summoning Nosferatu, or Count Octo, or I don't know, Count something, whatever the Octopus, whatever the his last name is. When she was calling out to him, I was like, it seemed like it was a familiar, ghostly, it was like black and whitish, and she was just walking, you know what I mean? It was something that it felt kind of familiar. Until this motherfucker spoke back to her, I was like, whoa, what? What is this fucking accent? But it was like powerful. So you kind of were like, oh shit, things are about to get cray. I do have some weirdness about the story. The way I understand it is that the 1922 film was adapted from like a vampire story, and they kind of wanted to make the movie, but they didn't want to get sued, so they had to switch stuff up. So there's some like plot stuff that just seems a little like not vampire. It almost makes you wonder, like, is this guy a vampire or what? Because he's sucking blood, but instead of on the neck, it's on the chest. The ending at first kind of was weird because this guy's not turning anyone into vampires. Like, he's just sucking their blood. And the rats thing, it made me like not quite sure if this was a vampire, really. And then so at the end, when the fucking sunlight kills him. I'm like, wait, did the sunlight kill him like a regular vampire? Because he ain't doing any other regular vampire shit. So that kind of threw me. The story, the part about the actual story that kind of throws me off is that why was there such a big gap between her contacting him? Like, was her getting married what made this guy decide to, like, come to her? Like, why didn't the Count, like, try to track her down before? That I don't understand. Unless there's, like, some lore shit I'm missing. That kind of threw me off. But everything else was pretty fucking sick. But that's the only real plot issues that I had was, like, is this guy really a vampire? Why is he, like, what's the deal? And then I guess I was a little thrown off because he didn't look exactly like that 1922 Lord Octagon or whatever, Octus? I can't even remember what the his name is now. Lord something. Like, he didn't really look like that guy. That guy had more like rat-like features, and then the one in this movie's got a fucking... He had like a crazy, dirty-ass 70s porn mustache, kind of threw me off.
And I shall taste of you.
The characters and the acting was top notch. Right there was like, there's like nothing I can point at to be like, that was kind of like that girl definitely deserves to win something, because I feel like this whole movie hinges on her making it believable that the shit is going on. Like, some of the f***ing spasms she has, and some of the shit that the switching of characters, dude, she killed it. She killed it. Fucking everybody killed it, right? Like, there was nothing where I was like, that's kind of blah. Everything was like on point. And like the characters themselves, like, other than the actual Count and having my little, like, the weird, I wonder why they changed him biting him on the chest instead of the neck. Because even in the clips I saw of the old one, the 1922 one, he's biting him on the neck. He's not biting him on the chest. Which seemed kind of strange that they decided to, unless there's, like I said, something in the lore that I don't know about, but that just seemed like odd to me. But his character was crazy. Like, I feel like the guy, Thomas, the husband, his character was a little less believable, right? Because I mean, as soon as that carriage pulls up to me, the door opens, I'm out. I'm like, I'm out. Right? Like, there's no way that I'm going to this fucking castle. I'm gonna go back to those fucking weird ass hippies and see what they were talking about, because they know more than I know. Clearly. But yet, like, all the characters, I mean, his friend and her and her wife, like, or and his wife, they were believable. Thomas's boss, when he was like f***ing biting pigeon heads off and shit like that, it was like a little... The actor killed it, but there was just like... I mean, you have to like own that shit. And there was just some like... There was just a little something off about it, but... I mean, I can't blame the actor. With the material he had and what he had to do, like, he brought it. It was just... It wasn't... It was 99 and not quite 100. I don't know if maybe I'm clearly nitpicking, because this movie was amazing. But, I mean, if you don't agree, let me know why. But I feel like there was just a little bit off. Maybe because he was so... That's another thing about the plot that kind of weirded me out, was like, how did he get control of that guy from so far away? And why couldn't he have just controlled Thomas from that far away? Right? That was another little thing about the plot that kind of like was weird to me.
We should never have married. We're already dead.
The direction and the cinematography, dude. Like, I'm watching this movie, and the way that it like pans, I'm trying to see past this. I'm like into it. right? The cinematography, it was pretty to look at. Although it was pretty dreary, it was like fun to look at because there was just so much going on. They nailed like the old-timey vibe. I forget what year, 1830s or something like that. I forget. But it looked like the time looked precise. Everything looked great. Like on the ship. They're on a fucking ship. They're in castles. They're in town. They're, you know what I mean? In like these fancy houses and like it was just really fucking pretty to look at, that's for sure. And the directing was great too. I mean, the music and the sound was on point. I think the only time you really notice the sound and the music is if it's off, and it just definitely wasn't. I felt like it always matched what you were seeing on the screen. You can't nitpick about the sound. You know what I mean? They use like creepy music. You know what I mean? The way the Count's voice, when he spoke, it just was like it took up everything. Like it was the only thing you were concentrating on. He had like this weird accent. I mean, is it like old-timey? Like real? Or did the Skarsgård just make that shit up? Because it was crazy intense. I mean, yeah, it was primo. Chef's kiss. All the audio, all the music was great.
I will leave you 3 nights. Tonight was the fun.
The kills were a little unsatisfactory, right? Like, at first you thought that Thomas was killed a couple of times. You're like, what the fuck? You don't really get any kills until the first kills are the boat people, right? The people on the ship. So it's just like they just got the plague. So that's not like all that crazy. The only real kill is when he fucking kills the kids, right? No, because the pigeon-eating guy kills one of the guards. That was pretty crazy. And then they kill him. Everybody else is dying. He kills the daughter and the wife. When she woke up and the wife was on the ground covered in rats, that shit was crazy. So yeah, really the only kill you get is the girls. And she just opens the door and is just like munching sounds, which was crazy. I guess since it was kids, it was good that it was like pretty dark. You didn't really see anything. He just like dropped them. But yeah, that shit was crazy. All the other kills, I feel like, other than when he kills the girl at the end by like sucking the blood out of her chest. I guess that's where the heart is, but I feel like it's always been kind of explained that it was the neck veins that they were sucking on. I don't know. The themes and the messages, right, don't call out, right? If you're somebody who thinks that there's like mystical shit going on in the outer realms of our like physical existence, like religion or any of that shit, why are you risking it? Like, why are you talking to these things? Like, out of sight, out of mind, right? You definitely don't want to fucking accidentally call fucking 1,000-year-old fucking Dracula-like motherfucker to come and kill your ass. Kill everybody you love, kill everybody in the town you live. You have to sacrifice a virgin. I think she wasn't a virgin. But was she like wholesome? Yeah, why did it take killing her? She wasn't very like virtuous, right? Like she was hooking up with this fucking demon in her dream state. And then, I don't know if she hooked up with Thomas before they got married or not. That wasn't really clear, but like, she wasn't a virgin. So what was it about her that, just because she's the one that woke him up, I assume. Yeah. The overall message here, try not to wake up like evil and retro monster, ancient monster types if you can help it.
Come to me. Come to me.
My conclusion is that this movie was fucking awesome. If you like, as far as like horror movies, it has like it's shot modernly with like this really super retro 1920s feel. Like I felt like, you know what I mean? Like when you just see this shadow of his hand like moving around like over the city or like over people, and like I feel like that shit had like an old-timey vibe. But then you had like the jump cuts and like the jump scares, and like some of these shots were super modern. And then it jumps from all that to like the camera just like sliding, like panning across a room and then back, and then like if you like that kind of shit, I feel like if you just like horror and you like cinematography, like if you just want to see like an example of how filming something could look, if you know what I mean, rather than what you're normally used to, you know what I mean, it's kind of like it's educational in that way. Like I feel like if you're like a film student or something and you watch this, you'd be like, oh shit, there's a lot you can do with this, right? Or if you're just in the vampire lore or anything like that, or if you're a fan of any of the actors. I mean, William Dafoe was a beast. This Depp girl was amazing. And then Pennywise, like that guy, like he's just super talented. He's like I don't know who you would put him in, who you would compare him to. I guess the one guy that played, the old guy that plays like Gollum, and like, but he's like CGI'd and a lot. But his character, like his performance, because I feel like you don't really see the Count in this movie all that much, but that voice is something else. And from what I understand, it's his voice. At first I wasn't really sure. I assumed it was like some kind of like generated thing, like, you know, some digital stuff went into it. But from what an interview he gave I watched, it seems like it was pretty practical. It was just playing around with the microphone and then just practicing. I guess he said he practiced singing for this, which is pretty intense, because he doesn't sing, but there is like a rhythm to the voice of the Count. It was a great movie. I was definitely blown away by it.
He pursues Ellen. It must be her. He cannot resist her blood.
If I'm rating this out of 10 stars, as far as horror goes, recent times anyway, since I haven't really watched anything else, I have to give it a 9+. And then just far as like the cinematography, the acting, just the vibe, yeah, it's got to be a 9.5. Like, it's a good movie. It's like it's better than the original, which you're just not gonna get. Like, even if the original is perfect, right? Like, because this is like it's that, but it's like, I don't know. There's no way. Like, I've seen the clips of the girl who's like the Depp girl's part, and you know what I mean? She's just like clutching her chest when the shadow of his hand is on her and stuff, like, like compared to the acting in this, it's just totally different. I mean, maybe back then, the Count was creepier just because he's looks like a fucking hairless rat, pretty much. That probably blew people's minds back in those days. But if you showed those same people this movie now before they saw that, dude, they would fucking never sleep. Those poor motherfuckers would never sleep. Totally recommend this movie. If you haven't watched it yet, dude, you're fucking up. Go see it. It's not scary, it's creepy. Like, it's unsettling. That's the word I'm looking for. It's got like this unsettling old vibe. Like, there are some jump scares thrown in here and there, but like, it's not like a horror slasher flick. It's like a creepy thriller, spooky, good time, if you ask me. I would totally recommend this movie. But what do you think? What do you think about Nosferatu? Did you like it? Have you ever watched the original? Did you ever watch that Christmas Land show that was on FX? It was on FX. It was magic. The girl with a magic motorcycle. Her dad just called her brat. Parents were getting separated. There was some kids in it that were getting like kidnapped by this one guy who, that if he didn't get any kids, he'd like wither and die, and he drove like an old school car. You ever watch that shit? Has nothing to do with this movie, clearly. But yeah, tell me what you thought about that show. Well, that's all I have for now. Make sure to let me know what you think about this video in the comments. I'll catch you on the next one. Later.